Hello, this is Colin Murray, Executive Director with Staying by Local, and we are joined today with Cheri from the Community Shares organization. Welcome, Cheri. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Colin. Thank you so much to you and to Dane by Local for being such great partners to Community Shares. And we value our membership at Dane by Local a lot as well. So thanks so much for having us again today.
Well, thank you. You know, I was reflecting back. I think Community Shares has been a member of Dane by Local for well over 12, 13, maybe 14 years.
That sounds right to me. Yeah, I would have expected it to be even longer. How long has Dane by Local been around?
Yeah, so we've been around, well, 17 years coming up in April.
Years. Okay.
Or is it 18? I lose track. Yeah, so I know it's been a long time as far as the connection between the two organizations. And of course, as far as we're concerned with Dane by Local, that is fulfilling one of piece of our mission, which is to collaborate with like-minded organizations. And what a better place than Community Shares. So for the three people that have never heard or are not familiar with Community Shares, can you give us a little synopsis of what it's all about?
Sure. Community Shares of Wisconsin is a membership-based fundraising federation. So we have right now, I believe it's 69 member nonprofits, all focused on social and environmental justice, all working together on some collaborative fundraising projects like the Big Share, like workplace giving, the CHIP program at the Willie Street Co-op, et cetera. So the focus of Community Shares is to bring all of these nonprofits together to work together to build not only more funding for their work, but also the larger movement for social and environmental justice as well.
You do a really good job of keeping all of your connections working together, collaborating. One of the structures that's unusual, I would say, that you guys do is each of your members are on the board of directors.
Exactly. Exactly. That is a system we've had in place since our beginning now, 51 years ago, where each of our member groups holds a seat on our board of directors. And so it puts the focus of the members and their work and their missions at the forefront of what we do. And so that helps us stay focused on their values, their priorities, and making sure that we are respecting those things as we make decisions about fundraising and new membership and other types of services that we provide.
Well, that's a major feat for you to accomplish.
Yes.
That many people on a board.
Yes. Yes.
Sure, so overwhelming at times.
Yeah. So the way we're able to accomplish that is by having a strong committee structure. So we also have a probably larger executive committee meeting than most nonprofits have. Our executive committee is 12 people, and that committee meets in the months that we don't have board meetings. And currently our board meets quarterly. And so during the pre-pandemic, when we all used to come in person, we've always met in church basements or community rooms and big facilities. Actually meeting virtually on Zoom or on Teams now has increased our attendance at meetings and has actually been not a bad thing for our board meetings. So it's worked out all right for us.
Good, good. Well, that's good to hear. You know, one of the elements that I know that you're passionate about is racial justice or injustice and how that takes place in the area. But one of the things I'll mention is that you've been doing this even before all this attention was brought up in the last 3 or 4 years. You've been working hard in that area. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. When I became the executive director now over 6 years ago, that was one of the main priorities that I had, and actually my predecessor, Crystal Anders, as well. I carried on her priorities and goals, having worked as our associate director for many years as well. And so, yes, we have been focused on that. And I think that it became the focus, and our understanding of it grew in importance when we realized that as an organization, we weren't being intentional about it, if that difference makes sense. And so we had a lot of organizations working on LGBTQ rights, environmental issues, women's issues, family violence, et cetera, but we didn't necessarily focus on systemic racism. And so we needed, as an organization, before we started doing more toward that work, to take some time to look at our own systems, our own processes. And by not talking about it, we were making the same mistakes that everybody has been in our society. We kind of went through this historical stage of just kind of not talking about it and hoping it would just go away. And obviously it hasn't. And so we spent a number of years now. We just completed our second consultation with outside group on evaluating our systems and processes, and really thinking about how can community shares represent all nonprofits, including nonprofits focused on racial justice, without making them adjust to us, but how can we adjust to make sure that we're fully accessible and that we're culturally aware and competent, and also making sure that we're focused on issues that have a real impact and do actually address systemic issues. So yeah, it's a lifelong process, and I have to say I have learned. It has been a really amazing process for myself on a personal level as well. And so it's far more work than I ever anticipated it would be. But we are better for it, and we're stronger for it. We just passed some new bylaws at the end of last year that are going to change our membership requirements. So we're more aligned with the values of the groups we're working for, rather than some checklists and priorities that we were following that were based on external systems. And so really looking at how to ensure that we are responding to the needs of the community and bringing in nonprofits that can do some impactful, important work that also are excellent stewards of the funds that we provide.
Well, it's not easy to accomplish that, and thank you for your efforts in doing that, waving that flag and working on the efforts there. So yeah, it's greatly appreciated that you do those.
Well, you all are also working hard on these issues as well, and so we appreciate you as well.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Big Share.
Yes, the Big Share.
Yeah, so major fundraiser for you, and it's coming up here pretty soon, isn't it?
Tuesday, March 7th.
Yeah.
Is our next Big Share. It's our 9th Big Share. And so I can't believe I've been here since the first one, and it continues to evolve and grow and have greater impact. Prior to the Big Share, Community Shares was mostly known as a workplace giving federation. And the Big Share has really expanded our reach into the community, has helped people get to know us better and get to know the member groups that we represent. And I really feel like it has helped us reach a much larger segment of the community. Every year, somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000 donors give just to the Big Share. Now, some of those are crossover with giving through other means, but it's huge and impactful and way bigger than we ever imagined, and continues to be a great source of funds for our member groups. And I think one of the things about it that has really been the most fulfilling to see is the evolution of skills and knowledge that our member groups have learned through the years. because every year leading up to the day, we do trainings and we try to upgrade everybody's skills on what the current social media trends are, because the Big Share is an online giving day. And so the focus of it is raising funds online through social media, through email, etc. And so every year we update our knowledge base on what the trends are. And for example, the last couple of years, we've been trying a lot harder to work on video, especially short videos now, and trying to help people break into platforms like TikTok or Reels, and understanding where folks are putting their energy in to social media. So, and then also, it's been so fulfilling seeing our member groups who have gone from raising hardly any money online to now a couple of our member groups raise north of $40,000 a year during the Big Share. And so it's just become this really amazing opportunity for the community to learn more about these groups.
Wow, that's impressive. So
Yeah.
what are the goals for this year, for 2023?
Yeah, so one of our goals that is informed partly by our member groups and the work we've been doing on our racial justice goals is to try to be less focused on every year raising more and more and more, because that's always what I'm focused on. When you're a professional fundraiser, you're evaluated based on your numbers. Did you raise more than last year? How much more?
Right.
And so one of the things we're really putting focus into is ensuring the uh, longevity of the event, and also the longevity of the employees who work the event. Because, there have been years where it's just been this huge stress, and we get to the end of the day and people are exhausted and they don't want to talk to anybody for a week or whatever, because it's a 24-hour, actually now a 36-hour long event online. And so people get really tired. And so one of the things we're focusing on, we have a wonderful nonprofit member group called Chrysalis, and they provide supportive services to people with addiction and mental health issues. And one of the great additions to the trainings we provided was a training by one of their staff people on wellness and how to, achieve your goals and also prioritize your own health and wellness. And so that's one of the things we're focusing on. We're still definitely planning on raising a lot of money. Our goal this year is to raise $650,000, which is right about what we raised last year. And like I said, we usually have between 4,000 and 5,000 donors. So we're hoping to reach that goal again as well. One of the main ways that we're able to continue expanding our impact and raising additional funds every year is through the implementation of peer-to-peer fundraising programs, fundraising campaigns. And so people who are listening and who are excited about the Big Share, or if you go to the website and search through the list of nonprofits and you see a group that you're particularly interested in, for example, GSafe is one of our nonprofits, and they do a good job every year of recruiting peer-to-peer fundraisers. And so the way that they're able to continue to expand is by finding new people who can reach out to new pockets of people who may not have heard about their group or heard about the Big Share. And so that is kind of a beautiful implementation of the original vision of the Big Share, which is kind of a extension of community organizing and grassroots organizing, grassroots fundraising. And so our focus for the Big Share and for a lot of fundraising at community shares has always been a focus on the average donor, who is, maybe they can't give $1,000 to a campaign, but with a minimum gift of $5, anybody can hopefully participate. And we try to make it as easy as possible for the average person to be part of this collective event that builds so much excitement and energy throughout the day.
So the peer-to-peer component there, how would somebody get
Yeah.
started? What's involved with
Yeah.
that?
Right. So what you can do is go to thebigshare.org. As I said, search through the list of nonprofits. If you want to raise money for the entire day or support community shares, you can go to the community shares landing page, or like I said, any of the member nonprofit pages. I mentioned GSAFE, Fair Wisconsin, ACLU, Clean Wisconsin. We have a large group of fantastic environmental and sustainability organizations like Wisconsin Wetlands, Clean Wisconsin, River Alliance. So if you go through, find a group that you're interested in, and there's a fundraise button on their landing page. There's a donate button and a fundraise button. And of course, donate. But then also, if you want to take your advocacy or your support to the next level, we really encourage people to take on the role, see this as a volunteer opportunity of expanding the reach of the event to more people. So click on the fundraising button of your favorite nonprofit, and you'll take some steps through there. It's a kind of a user-friendly process. And if you need help, reach out to Community Shares. You can call us at 608-256-1066. There is also a blue, we call it the blue bubble at the bottom right of every page, and the platform that we use that is really helpful for answering questions as you're trying to set up a page if you're having issues. So hopefully more and more people, early indications are that even more people than last year are setting up personal fundraising pages, and that's really what it's all about for us.
Oh, great. That's good to hear. So you have a number of events that take place. You said 36 hours now. Can you talk about highlight a couple of the events that are?
Yeah, so during the pandemic, interestingly, we had both our highest fundraising year was 2021, and a lot of giving days they called them pandemic bumps. I think people sitting at home and not a lot to do, so a lot more people online following along. And during that time, we took a lot of our events virtual. And so most of our events were virtual. This year, we're adding some more in-person events. So we're going to do a kickoff event on Monday night at Delta Beer Labs at 6 o'clock. And this is a drag bingo event, drag queen bingo. And you can, we're making it hybrid, and we had a ton of folks who have joined in the past who liked the virtual nature of it, and so you can still join virtually, or you can come meet us in person at Delta Beer Labs at 6 o'clock. We'll give you a beer and a few bingo cards, and there's no fee. We just want the community to come out and be part of this great day. And then a couple other in-person events. We have there's a very absurdly early event at 6 a.m. on Tuesday, March 7th. For someone like me who wakes up early, that's just fine, but not everybody's all that into it. But that is the first power hour of the day. And so that's part of the fun of the day, is our nonprofits are competing to win these prizes throughout the day. And we always kick off the day with a 6 a.m. power hour. And that power hour is sponsored by Madison Community Foundation, and we meet at Cargo Coffee on East Washington. We'll be serving free coffee. If you can get yourself there between 6 and 7 a.m., you can get a free cup of coffee on us. And we'll be live streaming from there. And then all day long, we'll be live streaming. We have an online telethon you can find on thebigshare.org on that day, or you can find it on YouTube. And then we also are having an after party starting at, I believe, around, my apologies, we just finalized the details. I think it starts at 7. And this is going to be at Cafe Coda. And this year we are kind of joining Cafe Coda's existing karaoke night. And so if you come down and join us for karaoke and wind down from the day and help us celebrate the returns of the day. And it'll be, a little more in-person time and a lot of fun. And I know we pick up a lot of new donors every year during the Big Share, and people find out about our nonprofits in ways they wouldn't have otherwise. And so it's always been successful from that perspective as well.
Sure. Yeah. It's nice to see the in-person events coming back. And, you've got an option there now. Some people have become accustomed to doing it on Zoom or whatever. So you've got both options there. So that's great. That's great to include every. So talk about the size of donations. I'm sure, getting $1,000, $10,000 donation is great.
But not very usual for the Big Share.
I bet. I bet.
Yeah.
So, talk about that a little bit. You
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah,
$5, but how
right.
does it all work?
Yeah, so the minimum donation is $5. People can give through Google Pay, Apple Pay. There's any credit card, etc. We also have the option of donor advised funds. Now that's for people who have a donor advised fund set up at Madison Community Foundation. You can get in touch with them and give through your donor advised fund, or indicate that when you're checking out on the checkout. But yes, so the average donation, I believe, is around $100, but we have donations, like I said, anywhere from $5 to, yeah, I think maybe there's a few gifts in the 4 to 5 figure range, but those are uh, unusual. It's really a day for the average person who is following along online to take part and be part of this bigger community event and participate in something greater. And that's always been what we've been proud of. And so we are extremely grateful for the major donors who give. A lot of those folks give matching gifts. And so a lot of those larger donations we leverage as matching gifts so that when people donate, they can increase the impact of their donations. So that's always a lot of fun way to use those larger gifts as well.
Sure, sure, yeah. But those $5 donations, they add up.
Abs- They
You know,
absolutely do. Right. And when you have, yeah, 4 or 5,000 people giving on the same day, every little bit makes a huge difference. And
yep,
that is something that we value greatly. So
yeah,
every donor can have an impact during the big share.
yeah. You mentioned about impact. Can you give
Yeah.
us an example of impact, how you've been successful in that area?
Yeah, I would say that the impact of uh, the opportunities that our members have had, I mentioned earlier, to learn more communication skills that they can use online. And so we have members now that, prior to the big share didn't have, we had a couple of members that didn't even have websites, which seems 9 years ago, seems like that's pretty unusual. But even then we had a couple groups that had like no social media presence. And then what I feel is most exciting about that is then they're able to use those platforms to communicate about their advocacy issues. They're able to use those platforms to get the message out and to create change in addition to raising money. And so I would say that's probably one of the biggest impacts we've had. And then the other thing that I'm really proud of is the fact that we have nonprofits that are members of community shares that are really small. One example I love to talk about is Wheels for Winners, which has 0 staff, but they raise, I want to say like $25,000 a year. And so their little army of volunteers, they have an incredibly well-organized campaign, 0 staff, but they're able to really, this is their, maybe even their only fundraiser every year. And so it's just it's really fun when these smaller groups that are less well-resourced can win prizes and really have a big impact in the day. That's a lot of fun to see. And it's fun for all the members to see each other doing that as well. We have groups like Kids Forward. This year, they're putting a lot of they're a larger advocacy organization focused on advocating for kids, a lot of it through the budget process and education. And they are spending a lot of their communication and marketing energy on lifting up the smaller groups that are doing the work around racial justice and empowering kids and through education. So that's a beautiful byproduct of the structure that we have at Community Shares, the fact that we have this membership-based structure. It really encourages that. It encourages the groups to come together and get to know each other and help each other out. We have groups that, after they meet their goal, they chip in and they go through and make donations to other nonprofits who haven't raised as much because they want them to bring up their totals. And so it's just an incredibly collaborative, generous community of people. And it's just so inspiring to be around it. And the other speaking of collaboration, that's one of the great things about it too. One of the aspects of Big Share Live that will continue this year is we have these roundtable discussions where we bring together leaders from multiple groups working on similar issues, and they have these great policy-focused conversations and talking about the trends and the impact that they're having and the focus of their work. And so there's a few of them this year that are particularly exciting. One of them is a group of our nonprofits working on food security and increasing access to food. And as we know, the economy as it is, and people are struggling, people that formerly didn't struggle to even pay for their groceries now are having issues these days. And so we're going to have a panel discussion around food security and increasing access to healthy foods in the community. So that, and there's another panel coming together of groups working on advocating for people who don't have access to cars or driving, and so increasing transportation options, which is an issue that brings organizations together from across different issue areas. And so people focused on disability rights come together with people focused on the environment and sustainability, because there's multiple benefits of increasing public transportation and increasing access to transportation for people. And so, yeah, it's a really energizing day and lots of really great conversations taking place.
And you've got a lot going on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Luckily, I have a wonderful team. You have an amazing staff team and amazing board, and all of the individual groups. Their work to build the day, each, all coming together is what kind of makes it big. Because if it was just us as a staff, it wouldn't be nearly as successful.
sure. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time here to talk and give us a little more information on the Big Share coming up on March 7th. Give us some information on where people can find out more information.
Sure. I encourage folks to check out the Big Share website, which is thebigshare.org. You can also go to the Community Shares website, which is communityshares.com, and you'll find more information about the Big Share there. You can find us on all the different social media platforms and lots of information out there, but I definitely recommend folks go to thebigshare.org as your starting point, and just to check out all the groups that are participating.
Sure. Yeah. I know I watch Facebook on that particular day with all the different posts that you guys put out. Fun to watch.
It is. And like just the constant stream of messages coming out. It's a lot of fun.
The updates that take place. So I enjoy watching that throughout the day. So, well, thank you, Cheri. We appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. And I'm sure we'll be talking again soon.
All right. Thank you.
Good.
Bye-bye.